Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of the Hummingbird Arcana Podcast. I am Jo Hummingbird. I am an evolutionary astrologer and an Usui Reiki master, and I'm here to help you deep dive into the worlds of astrology, Reiki, mysticism, and so much more. And today I wanted to come on and talk to you about my plant spirit teachers, the indoor houseplant energies in which I have worked with to make my space more sacred in the past, the ones that have had the most profound impact on me and my spirit and my experiences with them. So if you're interested in hearing today's episode, then keep on listening. And before we jump in, give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, turn on the post notification bell so you're notified every time a new video comes out. And if you're listening on a streaming platform instead of watching on YouTube, then leave a review, rate the podcast, let me know what you're thinking of this journey so far. If you enjoy this episode at the end, or if you're going to watch it all the way through, if there's another one you want me to make a topic on altogether. But let's go ahead and jump into this episode. But before we get into today's episode, I want to talk to you super quickly about Usui Reiki. Now, Reiki has been one of the most profound modalities of energy healing that I've ever had the pleasure of not only experiencing for myself, but also becoming certified to practice and teach to other people. This energy healing modality is believed to be the same one that was used by Buddha, aka Bodhisattva, as well as Jesus Christ, aka Yeshua, and his beloved Mary Magdalene when they were helping heal people from their ailments during their time alive on Earth. Usui Reiki itself has not only been the most impactful experience on my journey, but also the most rewarding for me. I've been able to help not only myself, but others heal different aspects of themselves. And I've also been able to certify several different students who are now healers themselves and creating their own opportunities doing that healing work. And if you're interested in becoming a certified Usui Reiki master, then join us live in January for the Usui Reiki Mastery course. This is a 7-week container designed to fast-track your way to becoming an officially certified Usui Reiki master by the end of February in 2026. So you'll get to become a master-level Usui Reiki practitioner and healer and teacher before the springtime of 2026. And this opens the doors for return investments by offering not only your own professional Reiki healing services, but also the ability to teach your own students and certify them in your very own way. The early bird special discount is still available for this course, and it saves you $333 in total course value. And if you use code ARCANA, that's ARCANA, at checkout, then you can save another 10% off. So this code is exclusively for my Hummingbird Arcana listeners, and the early bird special discount ends on Friday, December 19th, 2025, and doors for the Usui Reiki Mastery live course itself close on Friday, December 26th in 2025. I cannot wait to see you there. Now let's get back to this episode of Hummingbird Arcana. So when it comes to working with houseplants, this is something that I have incorporated into my spiritual practice for not too terribly long, but it is something that I've enjoyed doing because it brings nature back into the home in a very literal way. It's not like, oh, you go collect a bunch of dead things from nature like sticks and leaves, which are sacred in and of themselves. They can be used in different ways and have different intentions, and some can be talismans, some can be used in spellcraft, some can be used as like a grid for a different space. Fill in the blank with what you want to use it for. But living, growing, continually experiencing the caretaking of living beings, such as like growing real life plants, like it's a completely different thing. It's not like raising a child. It's not like having a cat. It's not like any other thing that you're probably used to if you don't have plants or if you haven't worked with them, or if you do have them and you haven't worked with them spiritually before. This is a whole other ball game. I didn't expect to even ever do this on my spiritual path. It's just something that happened as a result of a medicine ceremony that I was partaking in one time. There was a plant in the space and I was communicating with it, and it was so wild. Not that I hadn't like tried to meditate with trees out in nature and hug a tree before, the whole hippie thing. I've done that, but I've never had a plant directly talk to me where, you're in the medicine space and you're communing with your guides, you're tuning inward. And for me, during that particular medicine ceremony, it was the golden pothos that spoke to me, and it was so so gentle and so calm, but the messages that the plant world are here to give you are very different than that of your spirit guides or that of your ancestors or that of what the mainstream new age spirituality movement wants to sell to you. The plant world is so much wiser than the human world because the plant species have been around for millions of years longer than we have as Homo sapiens, let alone the ancestors that we have with the Neanderthals and fill in the blank with all those other pre-humanoid species. Like, there is so much, so much innate natural wisdom within the plant kingdom and queendom. And I want to talk about 3 particular spirit plant teachers that I've worked with that have had the most profound effect on me. The pothos wasn't one of them, surprisingly not, even though that is the first that spoke to me in the medicine space. You would think that that would be super profound. It's profound because it was the first, but it wasn't profound in its profundity, which that's a whole thing in and of itself. So let's jump into these plants. The 3 that I consider my spirit teachers that have had the most profound impact on me are the Alocasia variety, the Dieffenbachia variety, and the Sansevieria variety, or the snake plant variety. The Dieffenbachia is also known as the dumb cane, and the Alocasias are also known as the elephant ears. So, as a child, I have always loved elephant ear plants. My grandmother on my dad's side, in her garden growing up, whenever I used to be in connection with that side of the family, whenever I would go over to that house, in that backyard, in that garden, there was just this one particular elephant ear that was giant. I don't know which variety it particularly was. I would assume a sumo, but it was huge. It was just massive, and it would just keep growing every year. Every summer it would just get bigger and beautiful, and I wanted to go run and hide under it, and my grandmother would refuse to let me do that because she didn't want any kids messing up her garden. I get it. But little did I know as a kid that that would grow years later to then become one of my plant teachers as an adult. It's so full circle and so wonderful for me. But that's the first one. And the Dieffenbachia, the dumb cane, this one happened after a series of many medicine ceremonies that I had sat through. I think, what was it? The beginning half of 2022. Yes. The Dieffenbachia I came in contact with because I was starting to, pick up my green thumb and get a lot more house plants at the time. And I think I had just gotten like a tax return of a couple $1,000s, and that was really hefty. It was one of my first really large numbers to sit in my bank account. And I was like, ooh, wow, let's do this. And so I went and I bought a couple plants, and a couple turned into over 70 very quickly in a matter of a few months after. And the Dieffenbachia was one that kind of led me down the road of that. It was my 3rd house plant ever. And at the same time, I was obsessed with it. I wanted to just sit by it, and because the Dieffenbachia that I got was already maybe 3 feet tall, maybe 3.5 feet at most, depending on the tallest leaf. But by the time that I had to end up rehoming it, it was at 4 feet tall. And it was so beautiful. I think it was a Dieffenbachia. What species? I think it was a Dieffenbachia compacta is what it was. Yes, it was. It was a Dieffenbachia compacta. And if you've seen that variety of the Dieffenbachia species before, its leaves start out like the pure green, and then they go like yellow in the middle with a line, and then it just spreads out as the leaf grows, and it goes into this like half green, half yellow, beautiful gradient. And it is just so stunning when the sun catches the light of that leaf and shines directly through it, because the leaves are super thin on a Dieffenbachia. It's not like, as much as like the dumb cane, you chew on it and it makes your mouth go numb and then you die, like dumb cane, like that's kind of where this saying for the name comes from. But when it comes to the leaves themselves, they are very thin and paper-like, and when they die and they fall off, they actually are very sturdy to ride on, funnily enough, when they dry out. But They are so gorgeous to look at the vein work and to see the way that light refracts through like the I can't even think of the words from a plant standpoint, but I'm trying to think like the veins. I want to say the veins. I don't know if that's correct. Plant world, don't come at me. It's been years for me since I've delved into that world fully, but regardless, it is just one of the most beautiful plants to like look at, to have like catch, and to have any experience with, in my opinion, other than chewing on it, of course, because it's poisonous. Alocasia mostly are poisonous for humans too, so do not consume that. But the next, moving on to snake plants, also poisonous. Thank you, Hecate. I work with her, and of course, poisonous plants. Yeah. If you know a thing or two about Hecate and witchcraft and that whole thing, then you definitely know the poisonous plants spiel. But I digress. The snake plant is so protective and so like not nurturing in the sense of like, let me baby hold your hand, coddle you. It's like, let me keep you safe and remind you that you're the boss here. You get to make the rules. If you don't want that person in this space, then you don't have to let them into the space. Like, the spirit of the snake plant is almost like, I feel like a Capricorn. I feel like the snake plant's a Capricorn, in my humble opinion. You could say it's something else, but they're very boundary setting, in my opinion. But they're not like rigid and mean and nasty and jaded. They're very wise, and they're one of the slowest growing plants. They can survive for a really long time without water. They're seen in multiple different climates, whether they're humid or super dry. They can survive in almost anything and can almost go without light for a month. Like, it's insane what these bitches can survive through. Forgive my language, but like, snake plants, I love them. I absolutely love them. They have held me during times when I didn't know that I needed to be held, and they've also bossed me up in a time when I didn't know that that's what I needed. So I want to describe to you like the spirits of each of these plants without it being like super just quick and vague. So the Alocasia spirits, particularly the ones that I've worked with, being the Alocasia Regal Shield, the Alocasia Black Velvet, the Alocasia Sumo, the Alocasia Purple Sword, the Alocasia Silver Dragon, and the Alocasia Poly. All of those are ones that I have worked with and or had or cared for, and they are always so gentle and innocent and childlike and almost like even like fairy-like, in my opinion. Like every time I get under elephant ear of any kind, I feel like I'm a fairy sitting under like an itty bitty blade of grass or like an itty bitty leaf somewhere, The Alocasia Sumo that I actually had in one of my old living rooms, not like old, but in the last few years old, that one was 4.5 feet tall, and by the time that I had to rehome it, it was almost 6 feet tall, which I am 5'11", so that bitch to be almost as tall as me is crazy. So when I first got it, I was like able to put it in my living room and then sit crisscross on the floor on like a little meditation pillow and be underneath the Alocasia Sumo and meditate on a daily basis. And that was huge for me, not just, no pun intended, with the plant itself being the Sumo, the huge one. It kept growing leaves, even though it was in the living room. It literally would keep growing leaves as if it was like outside in like a tropical environment with the best conditions. It just kept growing and growing. I had like a beautiful crystal grid next to it. I had an incense burner next to it. I put a crystal in the pot for it to grow with, and I just think that me and that particular Alocasia had a deep bond, because that was the Alocasia that I sat under, and under any ceremony that I held in that space, in that living room, in that home. And I also did my journaling and my card pulls under there. It was right next to a window that was out looking to my back patio, and I could just look at that Alocasia and then look at the tree that was outside, and I could look at the sunlight come through and hit it, and it was just so beautiful, and always would remind me to have a little more fun, not take everything so serious all the time. Not that you don't need to be serious and that life doesn't have serious consequences if you don't take it serious, but there are some things that are meant to just be taken lightly and that are meant to just be fun. And those are allowed to be that way. You're allowed to have that happen. You are here on Earth, the realm of duality, to experience the spectrum between those 2 points that create that perceivable reality where the gray area exists. And you're meant to be there too, as much as you're meant to be over on one extreme or the other. So that's what Alocasia has had to teach me. The sumo specifically was very much the one that taught me that. The purple sword really taught me to be like not just true to my word with a sense of integrity, but like for myself, do I understand what I'm saying? Do I mean what I'm saying? Is what I'm saying something that I'm just blurting out because I want to get the right reaction out of somebody, or is it something that I genuinely mean? Am I people pleasing right now? Am I trauma dumping? Am I fill in the blank? Like the purple sword really got me to get clear about what it was that I was kind of wasting my energy on, but then it would get me right back into that gentle, playful energy of like, okay, well, now that you're done stuck in that jadedville, let's go have fun again. Now that you've done the work to clear that out of the way, let's go fucking sit on the floor and, I don't know, play with whatever toy you have. Heal your inner child, essentially. Like this is, the purple sword is one that I would go to heal my inner child with a lot after doing some serious shadow work. The purple sword, I think, honestly, is named because it helps you clear out the distractions, like with the sword part, and then like the purple I associate with like the crown chakra, third eye chakra type, and it's like clear out the things that are distracting you from connecting to your divine source, and then once you're connected again, go have fun. Like that's what the Alocasia really taught me. I could talk about the regal shields and the black velvet and the silver dragon and the poly. I just didn't get to have as much. Well, I had more time with the black velvet, and that one was very grounding, very earthy, very get back into your body and feel the emotions that your inner child wants you to feel. But the silver dragon I didn't get a whole lot of time with. The regal shields I didn't get a whole lot of time with, and the poly I did not get a lot of time with. But that I would assume would be very similar, especially with the silver dragon. I would have loved to work with the silver dragon more, but my silver dragon died because a kitty cat ate it, and I'm very sad. Anyways, moving into the Dieffenbachia species, I had 3 Dieffenbachia. I loved all of them. Again, my first one was at 3.5 feet, and then it grew to be 4.5. And then I had a little baby one that was the same compacta species, and then I had a Dieffenbachia Amy that was a little itty bitty one. And the Dieffenbachia Amy leaves are so beautiful. They're like a white that fades into a lime green on the tip of the leaves, and then they have like dark green little spots that looks like paint splattered on them. They're so gorgeous and so beautiful. And the Dieffenbachia, they taught me a lot about like being patient and being encouraged and compassionate and holding space and really taking the time to let things happen to me, not just in the sense of having like patience for the sake of having patience, but really letting kind of life unfold. And the ways that the Dieffenbachia leaf unfurls, it starts out like every leaf does. This is like curled up, and then it grows up, and then it unfurls and it folds out flat. But specifically with the Dieffenbachia ones, they curled out in a way where it was like half the leaf would be flat and the other half would be completely curled up at the base. It wasn't like we're going to slowly unfurl the whole leaf and you're going to watch this whole thing go from a tight little roll to one flat piece. It was like, I'm going to unfold this little part, and then I'm going to unfold this little part, and then this little part, and then this little part. It was so slow, but it was so beautiful to watch, because I could sit there in a month and like 3 leaves would have unfurled completely, but they would have all been such beautiful shapes as they did. And it mimicked the sacred geometry of life very well, like the spiral specifically, and that being a lot associated with the divine feminine. And I was in the depths and the heights of my divine feminine mystery path that I was walking at the time, and it was so profound to have this feminine soft energy be reflected back to me in a plant that's teaching me about space holding and patience and compassion for myself, and all the while being so beautiful to look at, just having the light like dazzle me through shining through its leaves. It's insane to me. I wanted to let you know that Tarot and Oracle card readings are officially back as an offering on my website, and bookings are open if you're interested in seeing what the cards have in store for you. I've personally had the pleasure of reading Tarot and Oracle cards for over 8 years now, and I've done readings for hundreds of people, and I love checking in with Spirit this way, so I'm super excited to have this offering back in action. So head over to the link in the description box or the show notes for more information on booking your reading today. But let's get back into this episode of Hummingbird Arcana. And so, moving into the snake plants, the Sansevieria, they really taught me, again, like I mentioned earlier, about boundaries, but also about being adaptable and being resilient and being pure. Not in the sense of like maintaining purity, celibacy, and don't have sex and be a virgin. Like, not that. Like, in the sense of getting things out of the space that don't need to be there. Keeping things not spick span tidy, but like keeping things organized and neat, keeping things somewhat in their place, and keeping up with the energy of the space itself, not just relying on the plants and their spirits to protect me, but also the snake plant I felt like really held me accountable to routine, and it really did a good job of not shaming me if I fell out of that routine, or if my routine needed to change because of something that I needed in and of my own personal life, or something happened in like a work setting and I needed to adjust accordingly, or fill in the blank with what have you. I feel like the snake plant was always very, again, adaptable, very forgiving, very patient, but always very stern and protective and boundary setting and respect following, and very, very grounded and real. The snake plant is one that, you know, I could always like not quote unquote pay attention to. I hate that terminology, but for lack of a better term in this moment, like the snake plant was one that I didn't have to pay attention to all the time, and it would still always be growing and not change its quality of well-being. And it really reminded me of Saturnian energy. Like, I'm a Capricorn. It felt very right for the snake plant to be reflecting that back to me of like, okay, well, you're not always going to get the nurturing that you need or that you ideally want. So how are you going to adapt and survive and be resilient regardless? How are you going to face the challenge at hand and still show up with ambition and with drive and with motivation? How are you still going to honor yourself in your process while you climb the mountain, even though your feet fucking hurt? Like, that's kind of the energy that the snake plant did. And of course, the snake plant would be about that because it grows in some of the craziest fucking conditions that exist on the planet, while also being a plant that can thrive in some of the best. Like, it is so versatile and so brilliant as a plant spirit. I am so grateful for everything that the snake plant taught me. So, the takeaways that I took from working with these plants all at the same time as well, and during the height of a medicine ceremony period of 6 months of at least every week once partaking in a medicine ceremony, these plant spirits really did communicate to me these messages in different ways. Like the Alocasia, again, I'd be like sitting under that plant in a meditation or doing breath work or in a medicine ceremony, and I would like pull a card and it would reflect back to something that I heard the plant talk about to me in a meditation weeks before, or it would reference something from a different medicine ceremony from months prior. Like the Alocasia spirit would be super playful from pulling across the different pieces of my consciousness to get me to learn. And the Dieffenbachia would be very, very gracious and very soft and very gentle. It would just be like, I'm always here. There's nothing you need to separate yourself from right now, because you're always whole. You're always connected to your source. You're always an extension of that. So long as you are alive, even if you are in despair or in detriment, you know that well-being abounds and that you can tune into it at any given moment if you let yourself and if you ask. And then the snake plant always teaching me in different moments that I had the sovereignty in the space of the medicine ceremony and the meditation and the breath work. I feel like the snake plant, again, really taught me how to protect a space, not just in the sense of, crystal grid it and light an incense and rely on the plant spirit to do the work for you, but really truly having the energetic sovereignty and, inner clarity to be able to declare the intention in a space to cast away anything for the time being, or what have you, that doesn't serve the highest and the best for that space, and allowing that to be okay. So those are my takeaways from those 3 plant spirit teachers that I've gotten to experience. And let me know down below in the comments if you're watching on YouTube, or in a comment section of the review that you leave if you're streaming on a podcast streaming platform. What plant spirits do you work with? What house plants do you own or have or take care of for other people that you feel like you might have a connection to? Have you had an experience like that, whether, in a medicine ceremony, or just in a meditation, or just in passing? Have you talked to your plants? Have you communicated with them? Have you crystal gridded them? Do you practice anything spiritual with your plants at all? Do you think that's unnecessary? Is that not your style of spiritual practice? Are you more energy and etheric versus grounded and plant-based? Like, what are you doing? What's your path? Let me know. I want to have that conversation with you, and I'm very curious. So thank you for taking the time to listen to this episode. I appreciate you doing so. And if you enjoyed, again, give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the post notification bell so you're notified every time a new episode comes out. And then again, if you're listening on that podcast streaming platform, then feel free to leave a review, rate the podcast, leave a comment, let me know what you thought. And it is always my pleasure to assist you in awakening to your cosmic divinity. I'm Jo Hummingbird. I will see you in the next episode. Many blessings, and take care, my friends.